it's no longer my time. Thank you, Ruth, for your time. Now I should be handing over to Dr. Hubert Espira, who's supposed to take us through a very interesting topic. Dr. Hubert is going to be hosted not by me today, but by someone different. I am no longer handling Dr. Hubert Espira. I didn't tell you, Daktari, I know. But you're going to be handling this with Maslin. So Maslin, salimia watu and introduce Dr. Hubert Espira. Maslin Chep, if you can hear me, this is your chance to introduce yourself. I don't know where she is. Oh, she's there.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon,
I hope I'm
Maslin. How are
clear.
you? Very clear.
Okay, I'm fine. Okay, I'm Mercy. Okay, Mercy Chipkemoy actually. But my account usually reads Maslin Chep in all social media accounts. Thank you so much, Nyawira, for this opportunity. This is a golden one, actually, to introduce Daktari. I've been on your session, Daktari, since you started on basically on gender-based violence. Yeah. And the first day that you came in, when you were introducing yourself, I was in also, and I was so impressed. Thank you so much for. I think you can be my mentor. Yeah, I love people who are open-minded and more on the on policy, especially health policies. Thank you so much. Today we are going to have Daktari. Daktari is having an interesting topic to teach us that we can help us. Even though we are getting job opportunities on this platform, Nyawira is ensuring that also our well-being is taken care of. Thank you, Nyawira, for that. Like, actually, you are helping. Before Daktari came in, there's a time when Daktari was talking about gender-based violence. There's someone, I think she was helped. She was being in a miserable position, and he got the information, and now I hope she's well. I don't know if she's in. I can't remember her name. Thank you so much, Daktari. You can take over now.
Thank you so much, Maslin. It's a pleasure today to be here and just to discuss some of the key issues. And I think so. Most of the people look at gender-based violence as just issues of domestic violence, and but they also don't look at it in terms of what are the other impacts in terms of the gender-based violence on the entirety in terms of as a country, as a nation, because these issues they have negative impacts on policies, they have negative impacts on economy, they have negative impacts on health, negative impacts on agriculture. And that's the reason why we are having to look at humanitarian aids in terms of food, because most of our farms are tilted by women in the society. And when there's gender-based violence, we tend to realize that there's reduced productivity in that household. And when there's reduced productivity, which is affected by issues around physical injury, discrimination, stigmatization, then definitely you won't be able to see enough food being put on the table. And we looked at quite a number of things some time back, and we ask ourselves, then what? What happens after gender-based violence? Because people get into depression and stress. At what point do you know you're getting stressed up or you're getting into depression? Leave alone stress. Let's look at the worst part of it, depression. Because that is one of the biggest psychological or cognitive negative effect of gender-based violence. At what point and what do we understand by depression? What is depression? We need to ask ourselves, what is depression? And before I continue, let me say sorry first, guys, for coming in late. Just got a last minute call because I need to start from scratch to help a country that doesn't have monitoring and evaluation. So you can imagine now you need to start writing, I think, 1,001 documents. Between now and the end of next year, it's gonna be just a chaotic kind of time. But that said and done, my apologies to everyone for joining late, and because it's gonna be a very long session today. So we need to ask ourselves, what is depression? What do we understand by depression? And my definition of depression is it's more of a mood disorder that causes feelings of sadness. And this feeling of sadness is not a feeling that will go away. It will stick with you. Yeah. And unfortunately, there's a lot of stigma around depression. That's the biggest challenge we are living with in the society. There's that stigmatization around depression. Because depression is not a weakness of character or a character flaw. It is something that someone has gone through that is so traumatic to be able not even to, you can't think, you know. Before I go on with this one, yesterday I was having a friend of mine and we are just discussing. She's called Victoria. Victoria, just having discussions with her. And then she told me, Doc, you know, you're so right. What has happened in this life is we forget about certain things of life and we end up thinking that the people who are closer to us are the people who are supposed to help us. But Victoria has a friend that friend used to get paid very well, and he used to travel on Friday, goes for a short meeting in South Africa. Sorry, and Saturday he's back in the country. So you find that because of that, this person always had a very good rapport with the wife. But on this day, the meeting extended. This young man came back home and found the wife and his best friend naked making out in the living room. They never saw him. He just did a U-turn, walked away, and went into a hotel, a lodging, not even a hotel, a lodging, and stayed there drinking, hallowing himself in alcohol, hallowing himself with prostitution, because he's so depressed he can't even comprehend what has taken place. Why? The feeling of not being able to talk to anyone is like, you know what? My world is coming to an end. So if you hallow yourself into depression and you don't talk to people around you, you are looking for a job, you don't want to talk to anyone, you don't want to talk to your friend, you don't want to talk to your sister, you don't want to talk to your mother. Those are some of the key things that leads you to that. Depression is not about being in a bad mood. And people who experience depression can't just snap out of it. It's not like a click of the finger where you can get out of it, you know? And people who experience depression, most of the time, it's common, yes, very serious, but also a treatable condition, you know? If you are experiencing depression, I always put across and say, you are not alone. Start thinking in that form. You are not alone. It honestly affects people of all ages and races and biological sexes, people of all income levels, people of all educational backgrounds. Whether you're a professor, you're a genius, you're Elon Musk, you're Bill Gates, depression will affect you. It affects people from different walks of life. Approximately 1 in 6 people will experience a major depression episode of some depression of at some point in their life. No, And we are looking at globally, we are saying we have up to 16 million adults each year who suffer from clinical depression. We have different types of symptoms that make up depression. Okay. And this one we look at emotionally. You may feel sad and down or irritable or even apathetic, you know, you're feeling sad, you're feeling low. Why? Maybe you had a loan, the debt collectors have come to recover their loan, they picked your things in the house. Your car had a car loan on it, they picked your car. And as I always say, there are certain things which are liabilities like cars. If they're taken away by the auctioneers, I always say thank you, good riddance, because those are liabilities. You have to fuel them, you have to service them. What you just need to do to ensure is, after the auctioneers have picked that, what is your balance that the bank will come back to you and claim? Maybe the bank will come back and say, you owe us 300,000, 400,000. Yes, work towards paying that 300 or 400,000. You know, so those are some of the key things that will happen. Yeah, we have physical. The body really slows down. You're feeling weak. You don't have that the oomph of working. You don't have that morale of getting up out of bed. You know, you feel tired. You feel tired. You're sleepy. Your sleep is often disrupted. It's really hard to get yourself motivated. Yeah, your thinking also changes. You know, it can just be hard to concentrate. Your thoughts tend to be much more negative. Yeah, everything you see, it's just in the negative and negative side. You can be really hard on yourself. Your feeling of hopelessness, and you're feeling helpless about every little thing, about everything that you come across. And even in some cases, you have thoughts of not wanting to live. You ask yourself, I'm not worth living. I'm not worth of living. I'm not here to live. I, I don't feel I belong, you know? Depression is so hard on us. As we are looking for job opportunities, let's also try and just talk around. I know things cannot be easy. I know I've not gotten my job within the last 3 months. Let's just talk between us, you know?
Mm.
And even in just want behaviorally, you just want to pull back and withdraw from others' activities, day-to-day responsibilities.
Yeah.
This was one person who was going out, very much outgoing person, always meeting up with friends, having a pint, always meeting up with friends, going hiking, always meeting with friends, going for camping. And all of a sudden, this person just disappears. You need to make a phone call and find out, where is this person? How is he or she doing? What is it that I need to do to enable us to be in a position to find out my friend, how is he doing? Don't think because maybe he lost the job, he's doing well. No, 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 no. These symptoms all work together to keep you trapped in a cycle of depression. It's a vicious cycle. It will start from point A, come to point D within a span of few seconds, you know. Symptoms of depression are different for everyone, and some symptoms may be a sign of another disorder or a medical condition. And that's why we always say it's important to get an accurate diagnosis. Seek medical advice. It's always say, you know, we as the Africans or the black people, we always say, why should I go to see a shrink? You know, you believe in that like it's like voodoo. It's like African magic. Because you ask yourself, I'm okay. Can't go and see a psychiatrist. No, I'm okay. I can't go and see a counselor. No, I'm okay. I can't just go and talk to my mom about my relationship that I'm going through. It's okay. I can't go talk to my sister about what I'm going through. No. These are things that we need to look at and ask yourself how, where. We need to be in a position to do that. What causes depression? What causes depression? And one of the key things that causes depression is it's basic. Like right now, when we are on this platform, Nyawira's platform, seeking employment causes depression. You have been rejected 5 times, and no one is giving you a reason as to why to the rejections. Do you know it's so funny? The countries that I get to understand, I applied for a consultancy, and I get to be told the reason why we are canceling this tender is because of ABCD. It's basically either you're having your consultancy within the donor circle, or most of the southern African countries. That is where I've clearly seen a very well written outline on the reasons as to why. But normally someone will just send you an email, sorry, you did not qualify. But they have not highlighted the reasons. Or rather, you get a regret letter for you are seeking to become a project officer. No one is telling you the real things as to why you have lost that opportunity. While there is no single cause of depression, most people within the areas of psychology, they believe there is a combination of biological, social, and psychological factors, yeah, that contribute to depression risks. And when you look at it biologically, we think about genetics or a family history of depression, because some of the things are congenital, problems, health conditions. And some of these health conditions, we look at these big issues like diabetes, we look at heart disease, some or thyroid disorders, and just some which is basically hormonal changes that happen over a lifespan. Yeah, it's a short time because issues of pregnancy and menopause. Yeah, and when you, for example, most of women, and we call it the post delivery disorder, where the postpartum, it's called postpartum depression. Yeah, whereby you gave birth at an early age, you have no idea how to handle the baby, you have no idea what needs to be done for the baby, you have no idea how to even breastfeed. Mark you, I'm a man, but have seen so many of young men and young women having kids. And this lady, for those who have given birth, you know the pain when the baby is suckling your teeth and they suck it wrongly and you have cracks on your nipple. The kind of pain that you feel, you will not even want to breastfeed that kid again. But now the result is the kid keeps on crying and crying, and that noise of the kid, because you're not used to it, it gets into your head. It throws you off completely. You'll find a lady has stayed in the house for a whole week. She has never taken a shower. It gets to a point that lady, even at times, the kid is crying in front of her. For her, she's just in her own cloud. I've had to train men how to support their women, how to hold that breast and be able to put in the mouth of the kid, so that the areola, that black spot of the breast, it's all inside the mouth of the baby, just to control those cracks on the nipple. But if you didn't go through those classes in your antenatal care or prenatal care, how will you get to understand? If you did not go through this training when you're growing up by your aunties, you know, the cultural training, because quite a number of the cultural practices that were pre-existing to that could help a lot of pregnant mothers, you know. So those are some of the things. Look at menopause. Someone doesn't have a baby and she's approaching the menopause age. You know what? I want to have a baby. You go ahead and settle for someone that you never wish even to have as a husband, as a donor, even just a sperm donor in your life. You know, you can't do that. Some of it is changes in brain chemistry, especially disruptions in neurotransmitters like serotonin that play a very important role in regulating many bodily functions. Which these are bodily functions we are looking at is including, we are looking at mood, your sleep, your appetite,
Mm.
you know, traumatic life events, limited access to resources such as food, housing, healthcare, and lack of social support, you know. And we ask ourselves, we are depressed. We go and dive ourselves into alcohol. Is alcohol helping us?
Mm-mm.
It is just an antidepressant for a short while. Yeah. We go ahead and smoke bang so that we run away from the face of reality. What does bang do to you? It just takes you away from the reality of life, slows down your way of operation, slows down the way of thinking. Then what? You know, those are some of the key things we need to ask ourselves. When you're not in a position to provide food for your family, you get stressed up because how are my kids going to eat? Even yourself, if you don't have money, you ask yourself, how am I going to eat?
Yeah.
You know,
Mm.
you don't have money to pay rent. You'll ask yourself, where am I going to sleep? Yeah. My landlord has locked the house. You know, you are sick. You don't have money to go to the hospital. You don't have the medical cover. You're an orphan. You don't have social support, whereby you don't have someone else to lean on. No mother, no father, nothing. Your friends have run away because they can't associate with you. You have no money. You don't fit in the social lifestyle or in the social group, you know? Psychologically, we think of how negative thoughts and problematic coping behaviors such as avoidance and substance use, which become psychological, it increases our vulnerability to depression. It increases our vulnerability to depression. And these are social things, and these are some things that exist in our households. What have we gone through ourselves from those causes of depression that I've just mentioned? What have you gone through? What have you gone through? What have you seen within your environment? How did you manage to get out of it? Did you have a social support? Did you sought medical attention? Did you sought spiritual intervention? How was it? What caused it? The good news that we have today, we live in the 21st century. Treatment helps.
Mm.
Treatment helps. Effective treatments for depression exist. And you do have options to see what works best for you. Lifestyle changes that improve sleep habits, exercise, and address underlying health conditions can be an important first step. Don't think about smoking weed and drinking alcohol will improve your sleep. The day you don't drink, you have insomnias. Exercise. Take a walk. Take walk. Exercise. Just take a walk. 15 minutes, 20 minutes walk. You know, it will enable you to be able to see how best you can be able to do that. Medications such as antidepressants can be helpful in alleviating depressive symptoms. Seeking therapy, especially for cognitive behavioral therapy, teaches skills to better manage negative thoughts and improve coping behaviors to help break you out of those cycles of depression. Because if you start thinking of suicide, now, whatever the cause, remember that depression is not your fault.
Yeah.
Always remember, depression is not always your fault. It can be treated. And that's why we have the likes of Madari. We have various psychologists who can sit down with you, do a physical exam on you. They can do some lab tests on you or do a mental evaluation on you just to know, to diagnose your depression levels. Because when that one is done, then you are in a position to identify various treatment options that will best fit your situation. We always need to tell ourselves, in the current society where we live in, don't think that there's no help for depression. Help is available. Help is available. You don't have to deal with depression by yourself. You don't need to deal with depression by yourself. Take the next step and reach out.
Yeah.
Take the next step and reach out. If you can't talk to a psychologist, because kwa Kiswahili na jina la mtaa siku hizi wanasema vipi? Ati unaogopa kuambia umeenda kuku. Yeah? Umeenda kuku as in you've gone mad. Wanasema umeenda kuku. You know? If you are afraid of talking to that psychologist, then talk to your friend. Talk to your loved one about how to get help. Living with depression, it is not easy. And I'll tell you, you are not alone in your struggles. Always remember that effective treatments and supports are available to help you start feeling better. They are available. These are available. We need to know that, as we have said, depression is a mood disorder. And it will cause a lot of persistent feeling of sadness and loss of interest. It will affect how you feel, how you think, how you behave. And it can lead to a variety of emotional and physical problems. You have seen those people who do self-harm. They cut themselves. They jump from the tallest buildings down. They jump in front of cars. They drown themselves. They burn themselves in the houses with their families. Let's not get there. Speak out and say no to depression. You may have trouble doing normal day-to-day activities, and sometimes you may feel as if life isn't worth living. Speak to someone. And depression, you will require long-term treatment depending on where you are. And remember, most people feel better after doing what? Getting better medication, going for psychotherapy, or doing both. You know?
Yeah.
Or doing both. Because what else will you do? What else will you do? You can't run away from it. You can't run away from it at all. You can't run away from it. How do we enable that? How do we enable that environment? How do we look at that environment and ask ourselves, what next? And these are some of the key causes of mental health issues, mental health well-being. You know, heal your life from the inside out. Because I know, I'll ask a question. Have you ever wondered if you are good enough? Are you happy? Do you feel at peace in your life, or do you feel anxious and stressed? Are you enjoying success in your life, or do you feel frustrated by failure and disappointment? Would you like to improve your mental and emotional and physical health and well-being? You know? Then it is so important to speak out, to get engaged. Look at yourself and ask yourself, should I start whining and looking back on my failures? Even the Bible, if you look at the Bible, if you believe in God, God said, I've created you in my own image. Don't let someone else tell you you're not beautiful, so you start doubting yourself. Don't let someone else tell you you're not good enough to stop doubting yourself. You know, you are your own happiness. You don't need someone else to make you happy. You are your own happiness. You make your own life peaceful. You make your life peaceful. Are you enjoying success in your life? Or you are that person who doesn't want to enjoy, you want to sit back and feel in a corner and try to start looking at the failures you had, yet you already land on those failures, then now you are successful. No, enjoy your success. God has created that path for you. Whether we are Muslims, whether we are Christians, you were created in Allah's image or God's image. And we believe in a supernatural power somewhere. You believe in God somewhere. He will not put you on earth to suffer, but choose the path right. Don't let one failure of your life to bring you down. Why is it that because of gender-based violence, we ask ourselves today, people get into depression? When that person comes in today, it's like a lady, you ask her out, you will say, hey, I would like to date you. Then she says, you know what? I'm no longer interested in men. She has changed her sexual orientation because now she says, I prefer ladies. I won't get beaten in the house. I won't get violated in the houses. You know, because of the trauma that keeps on sogging us in our brains. We don't speak about it.
Mm.
We need to start asking ourselves, where are we and where are we going? Where are we and where are we going? Where are we and where are we going? For those with families, have you asked yourself, our children, our own children, don't you ever also think about the young ones? Remember some time back I said we always have the invisible spectators in our households. Have you ever thought of what is the mental well-being of these children? Or you think it's only adults who go through depression? You think it's only adults who go through this depression? All children feel low or down at times. It's a natural part of growing up. But these emotions can be worrisome when felt intensely over long periods of time.
Mm.
And particularly if they affect your child's social, family, and school life. You find your daughter or your son used to be going out of the house to play. Then all of a sudden, the kid is now moving out of the house. The kid does not want to go to the grandfather's house or the grandmother's house. The kid does not want to meet certain uncles and aunties. At school, the kid is also avoiding going to school. If the school is next to the house, they, they'll go and hide. Time when the mother and the father have gone back to go, they've gone to work, and the kid sneaks in back to the house. You start being told, you know what? Your daughter never came to school. Your son never came to school. Although it's hard for anyone to feel optimistic when they are depressed, we need always just to go back and say, remember, depression can be treated, and there are things you can do to help your child feel better. Depression in children and adolescents. This one can show up in children and adolescents as prolonged period of happiness or irritability. You find that your son or your daughter, they're very retaliating on most of the things in the household. And this one is quite common among the older children or teenagers. And at times, it goes unnoticed. It goes unrecognized. You know, you have seen, I think it's the start of 2020 or 2019, when we could see a lot of cases of primary school children committing suicide, whereby the parents could not recognize what those kids are going through. And then all of a sudden, they find the kids have hanged themselves.
Mm.
Those kids who have been trained, and I always train my kids. My kids, they know very well. If they're not happy about anything else, they'll come to me and tell me, Daddy, I'm unhappy today. I don't feel okay. Then I'm like, oh, mommy, get into the car. Let's go out and have a discussion. Let's go out for swimming and let's talk. You know, we sit down, have a discussion, talk about it. The kid will tell you why, the reason why I wasn't unhappy. I was unhappy. Daddy, I was unhappy because I asked you for this, and that. No, Daddy, I was unhappy because I went to school. This teacher just decided to punish me for no apparent mistake. You know? So those are some of the things that we also need to talk about. Others might say they want to hurt or even kill themselves. How many times, us as parents, Yes, we say it's wrong to go through our kids' journals. Have you ever taken time to discuss? Have you taken time to look into your child's journal to see what did this daughter or son of mine write down in that journal? You know, children and adolescents who experience depression are at a greater risk of self-harm. It's so high that they always, kids are not like us. Have you ever been told most of the time it's so easy to deal with a mature adult thief who is coming to you with a gun and a knife, but it's very hard to deal with a kid who has a gun or who has a knife, because immediately they feel rattled, they attack, pounce on you, So such responses should always be taken seriously. Just because a child seems sad at the same time, it doesn't necessarily mean they are depressed, But if the sadness becomes persistent or interferes with normal social activities, interests, schoolwork, or family life, then we need to note that it may mean they need support from a mental health professional. They need support from someone who understands how to deal with kids. Not everyone will be able to deal with kids. In a family setting, you'll always find that kids in the house will choose whom to open up to. Kids in the house will always choose whom do they want to open up to. The mother might think she has a very good rapport to talk to the kids in the house, but you'll find the kids will always choose that dad in that house that doesn't have time with the kids, because they feel comfortable having that discussion with that. Let's start thinking and asking ourselves, how can we better our communication with our kids? Remember, it's not only, I always want to say, when it comes to the issues of diagnosis, we always have to ensure that the kid gets a proper professional care. It's up from a mental health professional or from a doctor. Okay? So do not hesitate to ask your healthcare provider for advice if you are worried about your child. Do not. Let's look at some of the signs and symptoms of depression in kids, because we have talked about the ones in the adults, and we want to look at some of the depression symptoms among kids. We look at physical part of it. If you find for a long period of time the kid is tired, tiredness, or they're having low energy, even when they have rested well, unapata mtoto amelala vizuri, mtoto amelala poa, lakini anakwambia tu nimechoka. You can see that sense of fatigueness in him or her. Okay. The kid goes to sleep, but the very restlessness, anazunguka zunguka tu kwa kitanda mtu hiki alikuwa amezoea kuwatch a certain cartoon on the TV, but because the concentration is out, difficulty in carrying out daily activities, kwenda shule, kufanya homework, changes in appetite or sleep patterns, aches or pains that have no obvious cause. Ushaipata unapeleka mtoto hospitali, unapeleka mtoto hiyo si, lakini hakuna any sickness kabisa, hakuna hata kitu hata moja. Hakuna kitu hata moja, hakuna kabisa. Hakuna hata moja. Umefanya all the lab tests. Hakuna kitu hata moja inajionyesha. Then in turn the effects of that, where do they go to? To the mother. Now the mother gets psychologically stressed. You know why? Now we start thinking of black magic. Oh, mtoto wangu amerogwa. Oh, mtoto wangu amefanywa nini? Because now you can't tell, because everything is beyond the norm, you know. Emotional and mental signs and symptoms. Persistent sadness. The kid looks gloomy, anxiousness, and the kid is irritable. Kitu kidogo tu mtu yame react. Mtoto ana lose that interest kwa marafiki. Mtu yeye alikuwa anapenda kucheza football, alikuwa anapenda kwenda kucheza kule nje kalongolongo cha baba cha mama, anapenda kwenda kucheza kule kati, kuruka ile kamba, kucheza banta ama kucheza na magari, kublow those bubbles from the like a little pipe, you know, to play with toys. What can we do? Mtoto all of a sudden unapata mtoto amejifungia kwa bedroom. The kid, he was very happy and jumping, always going out, you know. If they're adolescents, they get into loneliness, wanajificha tu, you know. If they're adolescents, they start feeling worthlessness, hopelessness, or guilt. And some of these symptoms mark you, all of us. If you have a boyfriend, you're going into a relationship with a man, you're going into a relationship with a woman, and you have a kid, some of these signs of depression, they're being picked from that household. Maybe the father is not happy, the mother is not happy. Maybe there's a lot of physical violence within the family. Maybe there's a lot of emotional torture. There's a lot of shouting, verbal abuse. That's some of the things that leads to these symptoms. Taking risks they wouldn't normally take. Mtoto anakata, unajua it's very risky for this kid to walk to school. But unasikia mtoto anakuambia ni aje? Mama, I'm walking to school. You know? I'm walking to school. I am walking to school. And they will insist. There's nothing you can do about it. Taking risks, you know, self-harming or suicidal thoughts. Unapata mtoto amekuandikia a suicide note. Unapata mtoto ameanza kuchukua a compass, anaanza kujidunga dunga. Unapata mtoto amechukua wembe, anajikatakata. You know? These are some of the things that we need to ask ourselves. When did we turn our households into a torture chamber? When did we turn our households into a war zone? we need to redefine what is a family unit. It is this living together in togetherness with love, kind, laughter, happiness, and feeling that bond of togetherness as a family. I am there for each other. We are there for each other. I'll scratch your back. You'll scratch my back. That is a family unit with a very clear, solid foundation, with a very clear institutionalization and inculcating of positive values and ethos within a family unit. Experiencing one or more of these above symptoms also at the same time does not mean a child is affected by depression. But there are a number of ways you can help your child cope. And if you're worried about your child, as I said, please seek professional support. Talk to an elder at the church or at the mosque. Talk to some of the elderly family members. Talk to that person that relates very well to that kid. That kid will open up and say everything. If you thought because you're within the 4 rooms, you and your husband, you and your boyfriend are fighting, huyo mtoto asikii, Yo, the kids have a photographic memory. There are things that happened in our family life when I was, I think, 4 years or 5 years or 3 years. But I still remember each and every image. If someone could upload that video in my head, you can see it in color, not even in black and white. So those things don't change. They stay in you. But now, how do you manage them? How do you handle them? It's by speaking, talking about them. And immediately you ease that pressure in you, you live a very happy, comfortable life. Because it's no longer a baggage on you. It will no longer weigh you down on your shoulders. It's out. What are ways to help your child cope, And for me, the best things I would give you, they're just 5, The 5, like, one is find out what's happening with your kid. If you can't find out by yourself, then use someone else who will be able to do that. Ask them how they are feeling and listen openly without judgment or advice. Ask people you trust who know your child, like a favorite teacher or class friend, to find out if they have noticed anything that might be worrying them or changes in their reaction to things. Pay particular attention to their well-being during important life changes like starting a new school or puberty. For those mothers with girls, mtoto akifika ile akiwa kwa mwezi, unajua watoto kwa sahihi, kwa sababu zile chakula ambavyo sisi twakula sasa tuna expect watoto wetu kwamba waanze kukua na period zao ama waanze kuona mwezi wakiwa na miaka ngapi? Umri wa miaka ngapi? 12, 14? But kuna wale ambao wataianza mapema. Wewe utashtuka, mbona mtoto atakudanganya ni mgonjwa, hataki kwenda shule kwa sababu ameona damu imemwagika. Ni lazima, ni muhimu ukue macho karibu na watoto wako. Kuwa macho karibu na watoto. How do you help your child cope? Number 2, spend time with your children. Spend time with your children. Try to build an environment of warmth, reassurance, and support by talking or doing age-appropriate activities together that they will enjoy. I spend a lot of time with my daughters. My babies, at times, their mother will call me and ask me, "Have you talked to your daughter?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah." What did she say? I'm like, "Oh, I thought she was spoken to you." And then she's like, "No." I'm like, "Oh, sorry." She has an issue at school, which I've already handled it with the teacher, because there's some new teacher who was in school and apparently was doing ABCD, you know. And the kid could literally refuse to go to school. Then she's like, "No, Mama, I want Daddy. Tell Daddy to fly and come. I want Daddy to take me to school." "Now I'll take you." "No, Mama, I want Daddy to take me to school." You know, create that environment, create time for your kids. Take an interest in your kid's life. Get to know how when the kid comes back at home, do you ask, "How is your school?" That's your brother. Like, for those who don't have kids, look at your brothers and sisters, whether they're in primary school, high school, or campus. Ask them, "Kampu ilikuwaje? Lecture leo zimekuwaje?" You know, I call my nephew every day. "Eugene, how is school? Have you done your cuts? Have you done your exam? How is your business coming up?" You know, you ask those questions. Yeah. And like what they love most about their friends, and that will enable you to get to understand if your daughter or your son has a girlfriend or boyfriend by being a friend to them. If you're not a friend to your kids, then a lot of things will pass you. A lot of things will pass you. How do you help your child cope? Number 3, encourage positive habits. Encourage positive habits. Encourage your child to do things they usually enjoy. And also stick to regular eating and sleeping habits and stay active. Let your kids get involved in specific climbing a tree. When I see my daughter running around with chickens, when I see my daughter carrying my big dog and she's falling down, the paws injure her up, she comes crying, running. "Daddy, I was playing with the Jungle or Oscar. Jungle has done ABCD, And you're like, "Oh, Mama, wait, let me put on my apron. I'm coming, we play together now. I won't allow Oscar to do that. Let's go and play with Oscar." Get on the back of Oscar. Let Oscar carry you. You create that friendliness with kids and get to understand a lot of things with kids. Physical activity is an important way to boost your children's mood. The type of music also can strongly influence our children's moods. But at the same time, don't allow your children to listen to some vulgar music, I know some of them don't understand what some of those things mean. But does that mean you need to explain to them the reason as to why, my son, my daughter, I don't want you to be listening to the music from this artist because of ABCD. He or she will stop. You won't find them listening to that music. And even you as a parent, when your kids are in the house, which kind of music do you listen to? Which kind of friends do you bring around the house that the kids see and interact? Okay? Number 4, allow your kids to express themselves fully. Let the kids talk to you. Listen carefully to what they say about how they feel. Don't you ever pressurize your child to share. Don't pressurize, because they'll never share. Instead, encourage other forms of creative expression like painting. Some of them will share everything in different forms. If those ones who love painting, they'll share their everything in painting, crafts, or journaling their thoughts down and experiences. When my kids and their friends are in the house, I take them for, let's say, a safari drive. I leave them in the house for the whole day. I come back in the evening. I give each a paper. I tell them, go and sit there in the dining area. Everyone down on the floor. Write for me how your day was. They write, they'll give you a love heart at the end. They enjoyed. Then after that, you ask them, what meal do you want? Are you the kind of a parent that you always buy KFC? Are you the kind of a parent that you always just do fast food, this junk food? Ask your kid, Mama, my son, my daughter, what would you like us to eat today? Because they'll choose the food they want, a meal that they want. Then you're like, but mommy, I'm not a very good cook in that area, but I'll try my best. Hopefully it will be a very nice meal. Okay, let's go to the kitchen. Help me do this and that. In the process of your interacting, you find kids also express themselves. Mood journaling can help some children let their feelings out by observing the things that make them upset or low. Also, kids they can also be a great reminder of the positive aspects of their life and things they are proud of. You can imagine just sitting in the house and you and your wife or you and your boyfriend and asking your children or asking your younger brother, what do you like about your brother and your sister? You know, they will say, what are the positive attributes? Lastly, protect your children from stressful surroundings. Try keep your children away from situations where they may experience excessive stress, maltreatment, or violence. If the environment in the house is not conducive for your children, if your parents are within Nairobi, if you have a very good family member within Nairobi, you would rather take your kids out of that house, let them go and stay with their cousins, as you and your boyfriend or you and your husband iron out your issues. And remember to model healthy behaviors and reactions to the stresses in your own life. In your own life. Including setting boundaries and maintaining positive self-care habits. Because, as one of the members in the chat group there said, the depression is affecting her 6-month-old baby. Because you really need. If you start by at 6 months old, what I'll advise you, wean your baby out from the breast milk. Because when you are depressed, your milk hormones are not being produced enough in your body system, thus triggering the dryness of the well. Now the kid, when they're busy trying to suck the teeth, they get depressed because nothing is coming out. They're frustrated. They're getting tired. The jaws are getting tired. The jaws are getting tired, so they won't eat. Let's have that clear understanding on that aspect. And if that one's said and done, then we stand a better chance of dealing with most of the things that we are talking about. So these are some of the key areas that we really need to have a clear understanding and ask ourselves, what next?
Yeah.
So that said and done, as depression can only be diagnosed, as I've said, by a qualified medical profession or an expert, it's important to seek help from healthcare provider who may refer your child to a very good mental health expert or a psychiatrist. At times, you don't need those psychiatrists. You just need a counselor, someone with a very clear mind that will just allow the kid to talk, or to allow that adult, or to allow you to cry, shout, and even break things within that environment. You know, if the mental health expert thinks your child or you as an adult will benefit from treatment, the options might include some form of talk, because talk is also therapy, where they have to tend to learn how to manage your thoughts and feelings, and it can be a combination of therapy and medication. If your thoughts, either as an adult or as a child, are of self-harm, or one has already done self-harm, then this is the time now it goes to the emergency services, where a healthcare professional is required. If someone has attempted suicide, if someone has attempted to cut himself, if someone has attempted to throw himself in front of a car, then don't delay in getting in touch with the relevant institutions or the relevant health professional. This depression can be treated, and the sooner you speak to an expert, the sooner you can feel. Thank you all, and I'm sorry for bombarding with too much information. It's part of path and process of our life. We can't run away from it, but we do need to be in a position to really accept the fact that these things are happening to us, to the people around us, to the loved ones, and we need to tackle them and handle them effectively. It's an opportunity, and I'm happy to have spoken to you about it, and I hope we can keep on having the same discussion, because this life does not mean no one is out of it. I might be okay today. Something might happen to me tomorrow. I speak from the point of being in that space. You know, so these are some of the things that they happen to your life. Some of it might not be severe. Some of it is mild. You can just talk about it and you don't need medication on it. It can just be a talk therapy and to get out of it. Some of it can be so deep rooted, you know, that you really do need both combined therapy. Let's talk about it. Let's express ourselves. And we are in a position to clearly see things through it. For those who are on the live today and you have not followed me back, kindly follow back. Let's have discussions and let's just engage. You know, there's someone who said who would like to have a discussion with me. Get in touch. 0710 138 918. 0710 138 918. Thank you so much, and may you all be blessed. Have a wonderful weekend and enjoy your weekend and choose to live. Life is so important. Health is so important. Happiness is so important. Love is so very important. Self-care is very important. Trust and believe in yourself. Nothing is impossible. Everything is possible. Thank you so much. God bless.
God bless you too, Dr.
Thank you so much, Daktari.
Go on. Master.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I'm a bit in a noisy place. Nimepata emergency ndio nimetoka like naelekea tao. Okay, I'm on the road hapa flyover. Thank you so much, Daktari. This is a very good topic. Actually, most of the kids usually suffer, but wazazi hawajuangi wanasuffer. Like they tend to ignore. Mtoto anasema kitu and then they ignore. Na kumbe ana develop that can really affect them in their like wakikuwa wakubwa ni inaweza affect sana. Thank you so much. Those who have seen them, they need help. Just join the group. It has been shared on the friends card Facebook page. You can join through there. Okay, what my take today? My take today: don't ignore anything. Yeah, don't ignore any signs of mental health. There are so many there are so many avenues that you can tackle mental health, like walking, like walking. What Daktari said, you can walk, you can try yoga, and you can try relaxing or talking to others. There's this point. Okay, most of the time it usually affects men. They don't love speaking up. Like unajiona wewe ni mwanaume like huwezi ongea, but it's good to speak up. At times it's so good, it will help you, and maybe the thing that you wanted to do, it will be averted by just speaking up. So I would encourage everyone, ukiona umefika mwisho kabisa, just get someone you can talk to. I think Nyawi already shared her number. She can be a good person to talk to, since we have her number, and then akona sauti mzuri unaweza msikiliza. And also she can also refer you to more help. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chep. Dr. Espira, it's always a pleasure to have you. Like every topic you tackle, man. Wow, I don't even know where to begin to thank you, Dr. Riani. You're a gem, you're a gift to humanity. And I wish and I hope that I could always have you here, at least once or twice a week. You just talk to people, because the topics you share are deep, man. Topics are deep. Areas that we never thought, Just today you're talking about babies, and I'm just thinking, wow, how much do we ignore about our kids? How much? And especially preteens and teenagers. Not to ignore even the younger ones, and how exactly people are getting affected by depression. Such a sad state. Yani daktari, I don't even know what to say, but God bless you, God keep you, and keep coming back every now and then. I don't know, would anyone have a query for Daktari before I let him go? He's a very busy man, always taking time to be here. Would anyone have a question? I remember there's a lady who asked Daktari to share his number. So Doc, if you can share your number again for anyone who's willing to reach out to you. Also, you could send a message of thank you, hope to Daktari. Atasoma tu sahi. That he keeps coming back again and again and again. And also, if you have a topic that you feel that you'd like Daktari to tackle probably next time, this is that moment. This is that moment. Yes, Daktari.
I think I've given my number there, and those who are feeling we can have a discussion. Silly, it's good. Yeah, next time, don't worry. As long as you've gotten a few concept of it, and then I believe you can be in a position to go and read further to just understand a lot of other things that is around that. Monica, Tieno, thank you. JT, yep, I think that it's something that videographer, photographer. JT, drop me a number. Drop me a message. Drop me a message. We can do something, just like a small thing on the side, but that will be think maybe by end of the month, then we'll discuss. But just drop me your number, because I've seen your issues of photographers. Those we can see what can be done. Thank you, Kwamboka. So wale mvua imenyesha. Wewe kwanza acha nichokoze. Anaitwa nani? Kwamboka Onyeko. Umepanda nini? Watu inakana mpande kitchen garden ama kwa balconies, mpande sukuma kidogo tafadhali ya. Tuache tukue food, naitwanga food resilience. We need to have food security. Come on. 3 stocks of sukuma wiki. Let's just say 5 stocks of sukuma wiki, 5 stocks of spinach. It's enough to serve it's a whole meal for a family of 4. Do you know that? Do you know that? The whole meal for a family of 4. Do you know that? It's a whole meal for a family of 4. Thank me later. A whole meal for a family of 4. You can imagine that.
Yeah.
You can imagine that. I was telling Nyawira sometime sasa nilikuwa naambia Nyawira vile mimi shamba yangu ni ndogo, lakini nikikwambia vitu zenye nimepanda unaniuliza how do those things fit in that space? It is just planning. Lizzy, karibu sana. Hoping tutaweza kushauriana kabisa. Wanjiru, I know, yes, it's not easy, but we always need to ensure that we put our friends, our family in prayers at these difficult moments, because nothing is easy. As we say, nothing is easy. We live in difficult times. We live in environments whereby without a clear mindset, then we tend to lose a lot.
Yeah.
So let's be each other's keeper, and that's what I always say. Let's just be each other's keeper. If you don't do that, then it means we are losing a lot. Anything else, my good people? Anything else?
Yes,
Nani
daktari.
akona swali?
Kuna swali hapo ya Cheryl. Cheryl ameuliza about for the kids stroke teenagers who do not want to talk, what should someone do? And then she goes ahead to say how tough it is. I think she's going through that. What would you advise her?
How old is the teenager and where are the kids? Because I always say, I have a very good, I'm a love of kids. I love kids. And I think I've never seen a kid who will not be able to open up and speak to me about things, the issues that the kid is facing up. And that is one of my strength in my social life. I say it's my strength to me, for me, that is my strength. That is my strength. So we can be able to have those discussions, and Cyril, get in touch. I think my number, I'll put there. It's the 0710138918. Then if it's a close family member, a friend, we'll be able to discuss and be able to see how to help. Okay? We'll be able to see how to help. And that one, I promise you that, because when it comes to kids, I have a passion for that. So kindly, let's have a discussion and tuone vile tutasaidiana tafadhali. Tusiache watoto wakacommit suicide. Those are beautiful souls that we should not leave them there outside there suffering. Let's do that. Yes, Onyago, panda mahindi hata iko kwa balcony, hata watu watapanda, as long as you can get some food for yourself. It's very, very, very important. I do encourage that a lot. Mhm. So that is so easy. Sherry, what is 17, 15, 10 Europe?
The age. You asked about the age.
Or the age, 17, 15, 10. Yeah, those are people that we just need to talk to them. It's so easy. It's very easy to have those discussions with those kids, and opening up. It's a matter of much better to be able just to sit down with kids, have a general discussion. Don't go direct to questions. Just have general discussions. And if you open up you as an adult and talk to them about your personal experience as a baby, the kids will tend to open up and be able, because they see you from the perspective, oh, you are doing this and that. This thing happened to you. You've never let it get down, pull you down, but rather you spoke about it and you managed to get out of it. The kids capture that and also become part and parcel of those discussions. So there's no bigger issue around that. Yeah.
Well, I think in real sense, she needs to get in touch with you so that you can help her where necessary.
Umeanza kuongelea mambo ya midlife crisis. Unajua hata mimi niko my yo, who's this? Mercy, why are you attacking me? Mercy, why are you attacking me? Yes, Sheila, we can have a talk we can have a talk here. So let's go to have a talk. Is he in Nairobi? If he's in Nairobi, just patia yeye fare afike kwangu. We'll just have a discussion, sit down and have a cup of tea and be able to have a discussion on the same. Yeah. So that is it's easy, my dear. It's very easy to have those discussions. It's very easy. Okay. And then now we'll have to organize to have that discussion, a phone call. I think phone call will be better for that setting. I think phone call will be best for that setting now that ako Malaba border, and just in case I'm in those areas during the festivities, and then we can also be able to have a one-on-one discussion. So yeah. So just tell the gentleman to give me a call, then we'll catch up. Okay. Let's help where we can.
Today's choices look like this. Political, I have never.
There's a question for you,
User
Dr.
912. I know I've quite gotten quite a number of those cases because if you have an absentee father in the lives of their kids, it's always important to start letting the kids know that their father exists, and don't lie to them that their father is dead, because which is quite a number of things that for me I know it goes on outside there. People try to say that, but eventually that kid will find out about it and get to know that dad is alive. And what happens is they'll hold the grudge against you as a mother or you as a father, because